Lunchbox. Actually, it's not true. It's my wife greets me in the morning. Hello, Lunchbox. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thanks for being here today. This is going to be quite cool. First, before we go anywhere, I have to throw out apologies. I'm breathing rarefied air today. I'm going to sit down a couple legends and talk about some really cool things. There are people far worthier than me to be moderating this. I just happen to be the guy today. You have to do that. You have to stoop to conquer at Comic-Con because you can't come in and show people like, I think I know everything. The motherfucker will come up and be like, name all the triples. And I'm like, I don't know. So the idea is to, if you're standing before the Comic-Con, the very judgmental Comic-Con crowd, you gotta let them know. I am not. There are better people than me who should be moderating the panel, but when somebody asks, hey, do you want to talk to a legend, you say yes. And that's what we're gonna do today. Before we throw to that, I'm gonna intro a real quick kind of a sizzle reel here that's gonna show you a little piece of the doc that we're all gonna sit around and talk about today. This is exciting for me because I'm a huge Spencer for Hire fan. So we're going to talk a lot about that, I assure you. Ladies and gentlemen, the man coming up next needs no introduction, so fuck it. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen. To both of you, man. What does that feel like? It's just got, you come down here once a year, I'd imagine, just to walk away going, yeah, I rule.
Well, audience reaction like that is, it's unmeasurable. You can't even put it into words. We love you. Thank you. And this thing, this Captains, was a voyage of discovery for me. It's a work of love, both for the material, the people I got to know so much better, like Avery and the rest of the Captains. There's a young man named Dave Zappone who worked with me, and another guy by the name of Kevin Lane, who had a huge hand in making this film. Three of us traveled the world to make this, and it was a voyage of discovery. I discovered things about myself as well as the other Captains, and that's what made it memorable for me.
You're not going to come out, are you? Is that what you're talking about?
They love me in anything I do. But no, I'm not coming out.
Avery, when you take on a role, when you join the Star Trek universe, I'm sure you've been asked this a zillion times, do you approach it just as like, hey, I'm an actor, I take a role, or you're like, oh man, I'm carrying a huge mantle here?
No, I'm paraphrasing James Cagney. He said, you spend a nickel and take a chance. So no, if I went to work every day thinking about how enormous before I became a part of it was, then I wouldn't go at all.
And I was moving, and I assume that when you put on the outfit and whatnot, I'm sure there's some people like, really? And you're like, trust me, I can make this work. And every captain brought huge dignity to that role. You know what I'm saying? Talk a little bit about your years on the bridge.
My years on the bridge, my goodness.
Talk a little bit about your...
A little bit, times 7 years, times how many days, times how many hours. I mean, in retrospect, certainly, the distance makes the heart grow fonder. But I will say that I am, it's true, isn't it? The further you get from a thing, the more enjoyable it was. I love her more now than I ever did. But, you know, it's, I have to say that I am extraordinarily proud of the people with whom I was associated with and worked with every single day. I also have now a young man who is as much a son of mine as my blood children, and that's Sirach Lofton. And so those things, and so those things are indelibly connected in my life. I will say to the credit of the writing and the conception, I think that certainly was one of the most important things that made it work for 7 years. The writing was extraordinary. And that's Ira Bear and et al. And Ron Moore and all those folks. And in the combination of people who knew that we came to play in the purest sense of it. That we came to play. I mean, it's like, and somebody says, you want to, I'd like to go to Yankee Stadium and take batting practice. Well, once you get out there, you understand that it's not quite as simple as it seems. But the fact of the matter, a symbol.
How come I hear these terms for the first time in front of all these people?
When you meet up with the other captains, like Avery mentioned, the great Ron Moore is one of the writers on his show that he had also went on to do Battlestar Galactica. When you meet with when you meet with other captains, are you like, that's nice, but my scripts were written by Roddenberry.
You know, I met essentially for the first time all these guys. Most I knew vaguely. Hi, how are you? From some event that we may have passed through and shook hands and pretended to be warm because that's what we do. But engaging them in conversation and exploring their psyche, as I do in the film, I came to know all of them. And although the time can't be measured in weeks and years, the hours we spent together were meaningful. And I discovered traits among the six of us that I had no idea about. I discovered things about myself in examining them and preparing to talk to them. I examined myself, and that's what my voyage was on this film. So it is about the captains, and it is about getting to know them, and it is about something that I arrive at, an epiphany I arrive at in the film.
Was it for you the way Avery described it, that the further you get from something, the more you can appreciate it? In the midst of doing the first series, was it something you were like, one day I'm going to make a documentary about all this, or you were just like, this is a job and it'll be another job after this?
Well, you couldn't be sure there was another job after that. No, I was enthralled with Star Trek from the beginning when I did it. I had seen a pilot that was made with Jeffrey Hunter, and the NBC didn't buy it, and they said, well, but we like the idea, recast it. So Roddenberry called me in and asked me if I would like to do it, and I saw the film, and we talked about that film, and from that moment on, I was enthralled by Star Trek, by the people who played with me, and especially the girls. And as time goes on, they get even more beautiful.
I'm sure they say the same about you, sir.
They're dead of old age now. Most of them.
Let's talk about the music.
So I said to him, I can't sing. I said to him, I can't sing. And he said, I can't ride. I said, let's get on a horse.
No, I said, I can teach you. How much time do we have? And of course he can sing. I'm here to represent the other captains who were not asked to score the movie. We're filing an injunction to stop the release of said movie until all of us have a little bit of music in there ourselves. Of course I just sang, so I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. Hi, everybody.
I'm so glad to see you. You are such a wonderful fellow and such a wonderful actor and musician. Do you know each other?
Now,
And yet, it's wonderful to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Scott, was it, how cool was it to be in the doc? When you got the call, were you worried at any point? Like, I'm not going to get the call, I'm going to be the one guy that doesn't get the call. And then you finally got the call, like, yeah! Or,
I had to pay my way into the captain's movie. They needed producers. I said, if I could be in it, I'll produce it. I'll give you money. And so Bill graciously said yes.
Every little bit counts, you know.
talk about your time on the deck for a little bit, man. Was it fun? You haven't been away from it all that long. Was it fun to kind of revisit it in the doc? It's fun to watch. It airs tonight. People can literally watch it tonight on Epix. But as you see, everyone's kind of playful and warm and stuff. Was it fun for you to kind of revisit and talk about your role after not that long away from it?
No, it was a blast to talk. I got to be honest. When you see us walking down there, Bill and I had never met ever until that moment. We'd not exchanged a word in public. The closest I got, there was an opening one night, and he was in the press line ahead of me, and I said, "This is it. I'm going to get to meet Bill Shatner tonight. This is going to be great." And I turned around and he was gone. Like beamed out, you know? So we had never met. So they said, he invited me to be a part of this, and they said, let's not talk about, you're not going to meet in makeup, you're not going to meet until you walk down the road together and meet. And so that you're seeing history.
You know, I try to think of a fun approach to each individual so that there was fun in the interview and it took it out of talking heads. And with Chris Pine, I put a table and chairs on Melrose Avenue, right where Paramount Studios has its gate, and we arm wrestled on Melrose Avenue. So with Scott, I thought, well, I'll take him out to a horse ranch I know where I have some horses and interview him there. But I made sure that we didn't see each other, and then we walked down that road and met for the first time. We thought it was great fun and laughed ourselves silly from then on, and got him on horses. And then we started to talk about how similar all our lives have been and how different. I enjoyed being with you so much.
It was a great time. And since then we've done a bunch of stuff together, which is really kind of, in a way, you know, he's the beginning and the end of this whole thing, and it's not over. And as Mr. Pine is very well aware of, and it's just a remarkable phenomenon to be a part of. And it's all really, I was thinking about this coming down here today, it's kind of all because of him that we're all here. And he's never asked me for any money, any percentage of anything. He's never said, you know, you wouldn't have that job if I hadn't kicked ass back in, you know. But I feel kind of bad about that because he's the reason, you know, and he's the heart and soul of this. When I first got the job, they said, you know, we've got this magazine, the Star Trek magazine that goes out, and we want you to do, you know, interviews and pictures for that. I said, okay, that's a nice little magazine. They said it was 25 million circulation around the planet, and it just hit me, you know, because I knew what it was, because I've done a little sci-fi in my life, but